right, we've got another power panel on the Young Turks. Michael Schur is with us. Adam Green, co-founder of Progressive Change Campaign Committee. Cliff Schecter, Huffington Post contributor. It's a great progressive panel, as always. I love it. What we're going to discuss today is, will Obama cave on the Keystone Pipeline? In fact, last night after watching the debate, Newt Gingrich challenged him very strongly on it. I immediately said, uh-oh, there goes President Obama. I don't think he'll stand up to it. In fact, I made a bet with Governor Jennifer Granholm last night on the program. Let's watch that.
It was a hard enough decision to make to begin with. For him to back off of that now, there is just no way he's going to do that.
Oh, I've seen three.
Come on.
Look at that. What is this? It's not 10,000.
Don't hurt me, Mr. President. $5,
he did say he was good.
All right, I can't believe she wanted to make that bet. Betting on Obama not buckling is a fascinating way to go. Well, here's what John Boehner said about it earlier today.
All I'm going to tell you is we will make changes to that bill, and I'll guarantee you the Keystone Pipeline will be in the bill when it goes back to the United States Senate.
Well, that's a guarantee when the Republicans do that. Usually that means they think they've already got him on the run. And then 10 minutes before the show started, we heard that the White House has withdrawn their veto threat of Keystone Pipeline. Adam, does that mean it's gone? It's a done deal? They will buckle on Keystone?
Well, you know, if it passes Congress, it looks like it's going in that direction. But I got to tell you, the context for this is that the Republicans are holding the payroll tax holiday, you know, this tax cut of $1,000 for, you know, average families, hostage for this issue. And there was a very telling moment about a year ago when the president, when negotiating with the Republicans, was like, hey, they're taking a hostage and they're threatening to hurt the hostage, so I have to give them what they want, which is the entire, you know, opposite of the point of the idea of you don't negotiate with hostage takers. Why? Because they take a hostage the next time, and the next time if they know that that's your style. So the president has really just got to take his case to the public and stop negotiating with those who take hostages. That's the bottom line.
Except he's apparently never going to learn that lesson. Cliff, it gets to the point where I wonder, is this all a game? You know, does he want to go, oh my God, I can't believe you hurt me so much, hostage taker. Okay, I'll agree to Keystone Pipeline.
I mean, look, it becomes farce after a while. I would have taken that bet. I would have taken a Mitt Romney-esque bet when it comes to that. I don't even have that kind of money. The fact of the matter is, I mean, come on, we've all seen this movie before, you know, with the debt ceiling. And months before the debt ceiling, where Obama didn't include that as part of his agreement with the Republicans because, of course, he trusted John Boehner's word that they were going to be reasonable. I mean, you know, the public option, we can, you know, he didn't want to fight for that. And originally it was, if the things I want in this bill are not in there, I'm not going to support it. I mean, I don't know what they think. I don't know if they understand negotiating theory. I don't know if they're literally just trying to sabotage everything they do. And they're not mutually exclusive. So it may be a combination of, you know, they want this outcome, some of these outcomes, and other times they're just too weak to fight for it. But I mean, we just saw this recently with the NDAA. You know, as soon as he removes his threat to veto it, of course, I mean, you know, that's a signal. You know, and these guys always know all they have to do is get a little bit tough with him, and that's what ends up happening. It's pathetic, really.
Michael, he makes it nearly impossible to defend him. You know, this is a very interactive show. We get emails and tweets, et cetera, and we'd read them. And every once in a while people say, oh, you're too tough on him, you're too tough on him. But I always say it before, not after. Last night I said he's going to buckle. I sense it, right?
You're right, and you were the only person at the table saying it, by the way. It wasn't just, it was just the governor who wagered with you on it. You know, one of the
you guys all outvoted me. Thanks for reminding me.
Yes. No, we were all guilty of saying that he was not going to buckle on this. And Cliff's right. After a while, it becomes a farce. You have to look at this in a macro way, and forgetting that it's President Obama for a moment, how difficult it is being a Democratic president sometimes. You have the unions here fighting like hell to get this thing done. You have the environmentalists fighting like hell not to have it done. You do have to assume that perhaps the 60-day period that he has to review this is something that he's keeping in his back pocket. You have an environmental board in Nebraska, an agency there reviewing. That's part of the provisions. Again, I'm tired. You know, this guy keeps punting and punting on fourth down, and at a certain point, you have to fire the coach.
On third down. I wish you would punt on fourth down.
Right, yeah.
Sometimes he punts on second down. He's like, oh, my God, we didn't get 10 yards already. So, look, Adam, I'm going to get harsher here. I'm sick of it. I mean, how many concessions? You guys talked about it. You know, debt ceiling, government shutdown, Bush tax cuts. At some point, you have to ask the question, Is he messing with us? Does he not mean any of the things that he's talking about? Is he throwing the game on purpose?
Yeah, and, you know, look, the most charitable view of his actions is that it's just gross incompetence when it comes to fighting strategy and negotiation strategy. And to those who say, oh, you're being too hard on the president, I think we have to make one thing very clear. It was progressives who, for the entirety of the first 2.5 years of the Obama administration, said, on a strategic note, do not start with your negotiation position. Do not go behind closed doors. Take your message to the public. Barnstorm across Republican states. And finally, in the last couple months, he actually followed all of our advice. And what do you know? His approval ratings go up. And he's beating the Republican in South Carolina. This seems to be like a reversion to the old Obama playbook of caving, of giving in to hostage taking. And if the most charitable view is that he's a horrible negotiator, and the least charitable view is that he's either selling out to corporate donors or doesn't even mean it, that's a really bad case to make to the public in 2012, and I really hope he doesn't go there.
Yeah, Cliff, I got to give you the last word here, but it's hard not to get discouraged because any of those, I mean, the problem is just last thing that Adam said there, right? He's now talking the talk. He's talking like a progressive because he knows that's how you get votes. But when it comes to actually acting, every single time, he will do the wrong thing.
Yeah, you know, I mean, again, like, it's amazing, and I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think it's almost worse than any of us are saying. I think it's a combination of weakness when he wants to stand up for something, and other times I do think he's just punting ahead of time, because what other conclusion can you come to? What can you come to with, you know, with Plan B? And you know, you want single women to stay home, one of your key constituencies, for some imaginary group of independents that only exist in, like, maybe Doug Schoen and Pat Caddell's heads? I mean, I don't really, I want to know what they're doing, and I want to, before, I mean, that Teddy Roosevelt speech he made, we were all calling for that same speech during the stimulus fight. What if he'd gone to Maine and gotten in Olympia Snow's face and gone to Pennsylvania and gotten in Schecter's face? Heck, he won an electoral vote in Nebraska. He should have gotten in Ben Nelson's face, and we could have gotten a real stimulus. Where would we be? I mean, it's just like, how many times can you believe this guy and believe he's trying to do the right thing before you just throw your hands up? You know?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, the only thing he's getting in the face of is the establishment to make out with them. And it's really, it's turning my stomach. All right, Adam Green, Cliff Schecter, Michael Schur. Tough talk here tonight, but well-deserved, unfortunately. So when we come back, Governor Rick Scott says yet another questionable thing to black constituents. Jesus, what did he say this time? We'll tell you when we return.